there is a very likely chance, there is a great chance that Lucid Motors fails. So I've said before that I would not invest in a car company, a EV car company. At least I wouldn't invest in most of them because I like to invest in EVs that are not just car makers. They aren't just hoping to replace the legacy car manufacturers like Ford and GM and all those guys. I want to see tech companies that are building great cars but have other vertically integrated services and business models to do much more than that, to provide energy, to provide storage, energy storage, to solve autonomy and make it easier for people to actually move around this world. So most EV car companies out there, I avoid because I know that most of them are going to fail. Most car companies in history have failed. But I have chosen to invest in two of them in the past. Well, three, I believe. There was Tesla in 2019. There was Arrival of the UK, the autonomous EV commercial van maker. Love that company. They make great vehicles and they're beautiful, but they are also vertically integrated and they do more than just making cars. They're not just another Ford or Nikola, right? They do much more than that. And now it's Lucid Motors. So I have Tesla, I have Arrival in my long-term future tech portfolios. They're much smaller than my growth portfolios, but I have Lucid Motors in my growth portfolio. It's one of my biggest positions. Why? Because I believe in this company long term that they can actually go on to compete with Tesla. They're still undervalued in my opinion. And I want to be there to grow along with them, to grow and benefit from the appreciation of the value of this asset. Like I always say, I want to get in early when I have conviction in something, and I want to hold it for long term and just let it build my wealth for me. Deploy my capital and let them go make more friends and more babies out there. Bring them back home, and I'll be happy to see it when they arrive. So I see Lucid Motors as a company that is doing much more than building cars. And I believe that they can go on to be one of the greats and actually compete with Tesla and be a great American company. And they have a distinguished history in battery producing, and they claim that they have the most efficient batteries on the market for the EV cars. So I like Lucid a lot. I don't want this video to be taken as me bashing Lucid in any way, but we have to, as investors, we have to consider the worst case scenarios. We have to consider how things can go wrong. And there is a very likely chance, there is a great chance that Lucid Motors fails. So my question today, I just came up with this in my head and thought, if Lucid Motors manufactures these cars in 2021 to launch their Lucid Airs, luxury vehicles at 140,000, 179,000, I forgot how expensive it is, but it's very expensive. It's insanely expensive. I couldn't afford it. I'm sure there's people out there who could afford it. There's some people who bought Tesla when they first launched in 2008 with a Roadster, very high price car, but it wasn't the same price as the Lucid Airs. But I think they will buy Lucid. People have lots of money out there. There's lots of rich people who love to spend their money on beautiful and high quality products. So there will be a market. But my question is, how big will the market be? Can Lucid Motors find enough customers to buy these high-end electric vehicles? I'm investing lots of money because I think so. But of course, again, I want to make sure that we consider the downsides, the risk. So I'm looking at a list here on Wikipedia, and I did some rough math. There's 26 letters in the alphabet, and this list has about 25 letters that are filled to the brim with defunct automobile manufacturers of the past. And just doing some rough math, if there's 26 letters in the alphabet, a few of them have only a few cars, but some have way more than the others. So ABC through W and XYZ. If I see all these names, it's like 15 per column or 17 per column and 5 columns. That comes out to around 2,100 cars, what's it called, automobile manufacturers that are defunct. 2,000 defunct automobile manufacturers. Whew, those are some odds. The chances of failure are incredibly high in this industry. And as I just browse through, just throw my eyes around on this list, I see that most of them last a year or 2 years, sometimes 3 years. And there are some who go on for maybe 5, maybe 10 years. I don't know if I've seen 10 yet, but I'm sure it's there. Oh, there's one right here with 9 years. Actually, that's 19 years actually, so that's good. There's some of them who survived for a little bit, but then just went away. But most of these cars, these vehicle manufacturers, they lasted only a few years, if any at all. Why? Because in most cases, they couldn't find buyers. That's just what I've seen in the past. I haven't looked through all of these cases, but just from my brief research over the last few years with Tesla and looking into why so many car companies fail, I've just seen even Fisker. You know Fisker, FSR, you know, the EV car company by Fisker himself. He has a couple of failed car companies in the past. At least one. I think there's 2. But Fisker, this new Fisker, this EV manufacturer Fisker, today is not his first go around. He has failures in the past. Just unfortunately for him, he was able to keep his name, his trademark, Fisker, through the bankruptcies. So now he has another chance. But most people don't get a second chance. They fail and they just say goodbye. And of course, there are many on here who have tried multiple times. But the point is that in most of these cases that I see here, they last a year or 2 and they go bye-bye. Because they couldn't find buyers in the first model. They tried again on the second model, try to redo their strategy and fix whatever problems that they thought that the buyers were seeing and wouldn't buy, and try it again. But no one bought still. So my question again is, if Lucid Motors builds it, if they manufacture 7,000, 9,000 cars this year, or even 20,000 cars in 2022, will they come? If they build it, will they come? In the dot-com bubble, the money never came. That's why that crashed. So I want to know, what's the chance of Lucid Motors succeeding here? Well, we are fortunate to have Tesla to go by. We have some other numbers from early on. So we can look at Model S. And when they launched the Model S, so Tesla, they sold their first Roadster in 2008, I believe. And then they launched their Model S in June of 2012. And I'm reading this article right here by Inside EVs, a trusted name in electric vehicles. And they say that Tesla, they produced 2,750 Tesla Model S's in Q4 of 2012, and they sold 2,400. So that's very good. But they had a great name. They had the Roadster before the Model S. Right? That was their high-end luxury vehicle to get started. That's the same thing Lucid is going to do. Lucid is starting out with a very high-end, very expensive vehicle. Then they're going to come out with their mass markets over time. At least that's the plan. Remember, most car companies have failed. So Lucid might not get to their mass market vehicles. They might fail within the next year, 2 or 3. That's how this list on Wikipedia is represented. Most car companies don't last that long. So Tesla had an alright start, but it wasn't great. It says here for the fourth quarter, Tesla sold 2,400 all-electric sedans, bringing the 2012 yearly total to 2,650. And they sold 253 Model S sedans in Q3 of 2012, which was the same quarter that they launched that vehicle. So the article goes on to say, while a notable achievement, the 2,400 deliveries for Q4 was below expectations. Overall, the company said they produced over 2,750 cars in the 3 months and over 3,100 for the year. And to put that in perspective, the article says that the Model S was the fourth best seller, rounding out the last 3 months of the year. That's for the electric vehicle sector. So the Chevrolet Volt sold 7,113 copies. That's good. Lucid Motors wants to produce around that number, 5,700, 5,000 or 7,000 cars this year. And that's what I believe they can do. Toyota sold 5,000 in 2012. They sold 5,000 of their plug-in Prius cars. And Nissan sold 4,607 EV Leafs. This is good history. The article says more that now that the company is working at the optimal production level, they can produce and likely sell upwards of 5,000 new vehicles per quarter. Again, this was 2012 for Tesla. However, the company notes that they likely will only sell upwards of 4,500 in the first quarter of this year because they gave the manufacturing team the first week of the year off to celebrate their accomplishments of 2012. So this is a ICIC report from 2012. Tesla was trying to be a trailblazer in the all EV car sector, trying to lead the way, and the infrastructure was not there. There was great anxiety around whether or not you could charge your vehicle when you go on a road trip or even just driving downtown to your grandma's house. So people weren't buying too many EVs back then because it was brand new, at least in the modern day. And Tesla had a hard time selling all of their cars, but they got pretty close. But they faced manufacturing problems because manufacturing cars is not easy. I would venture to say that in the early days, Tesla had a harder time selling cars than manufacturing them. But they had a very hard time manufacturing them too. So they had both problems. But even though that sounds bad, I think that Lucid Motors is in a better position. As I said in my previous video on Lucid Motors and their transaction overview, Lucid Motors is set up, they're getting into this market at the right time. It's still early, but it's not too early. It's not Tesla early. When Tesla joined, there was no infrastructure. There was charge anxiety. But today, you have ChargePoint, you have Blink Charging, you have Volta, you have Electrify America, you have EV Box and EV Go, and you have President Biden saying, hey, we're going to build hundreds of thousands more charging stations around this country. The whole world is saying, hey, we have to get rid of those legacy ICE vehicles that are just polluting our air and killing our babies and ruining our future. Global warming, right? Everyone is very much on high alert about our future prospects on this planet. That wasn't the case in 2008 and 2012 for Tesla. None of that was. They had a better own charging station, their own charging network, which is expensive, and they still have to maintain that today. Which I've told my patrons in a memo a few weeks ago that is going to be a great advantage for Lucid Motors because they don't have to maintain a charging network and all that comes with it, including making sure that it's up to par for their customers. If anything goes wrong with their partners, who they can partner up with so that their customers have great charging options, if anything goes wrong with that partner, they can say, hey, we're moving to a new partner because you cannot satisfy our customers. They don't have to go and deal with a whole internal charging network and keep that up to speed and all of the costs that come with that. And it's a very tough thing that Tesla's doing, and it has great upside, right? People love it. They get to control it, but it's expensive. And it takes away time and energy and mind, and it has switching cost for the companies, the executives, to keep that running. But Lucid Motors doesn't have to do any of that. They can partner up with Electrify America. I never use that. People say it's good, some people say it's bad, so I have no clue. I like ChargePoint. I like what they're doing. ChargePoint is an option for any EV car, even Teslas, and Lucid Motors, just like most EV charging stations out there. And ChargePoint doesn't charge for charging your car, the energy. There are businesses out there who will let you charge for free just so that you can come and bring foot traffic to their business. Go buy their products in their convenience store or go work for them. Verizon, right? Verizon's a ChargePoint partner, so is Google and LinkedIn and so many other Fortune 50 companies and government agencies. ChargePoint's a leader. They're 7x ahead of all of their other competitors. So the point is that there is a huge market now of charging networks out there. And there is a huge leader who has great ratings on the App Store and Google here in the USA and in Europe. And over there in Europe, they have a competitor who is also loved by the natives over there. So Lucid Motors has the infrastructure set up for them to say, hey, we're just going to build a great cars. We're going to market them, going to make beautiful ads, and we're going to have our CEO, Peter Rawlinson, with his audiobook of a voice, tell our customers, our potential customers, about how beautiful the car is, how exceptional the specs are, and just tell the whole story around it. And he's a great storyteller. The question still is, will they come? If Lucid Motors builds it, will they come? So I am very hopeful that they will come. I believe they will come because this company is being funded heavily by Saudi Arabia, their PIF, their Public Investment Fund. That's their sovereign wealth fund. The whole government is behind this company. They owned 85% of the existing shares of Lucid Motors before they decided to go public. And afterwards, they're going to own 62% of it. 62% held by the Saudis. So they're going to put everything behind this company because they screwed up on Tesla. They sold out of Tesla too early. So they have regret. So they're going to put all they can behind this company. At least that's what I believe. And keep bankrolling it. They're going to make sure they market. They're going to make sure that people see this company. And that's half the battle, being seen. The other half is making sure that your car works and that people continue to like it and recommend it to their friends. Word of mouth, best marketing. I've run a marketing publication and many products. And if you can get word of mouth marketing because people love your product, you're going to do extremely well. It's exactly what happened with Robinhood. They did very well in the start because they had people knocking on their doors to get in. They had a huge wait list before they even launched because they told the story very well. Lucid Motors tells their story very well too. They're going to throw all of their money behind making sure that this product is high quality and that they can actually produce it and control the whole process. There is already good demand for it. Again, that's at the lower end, the reservations are around 5,000 reservations. At the high end, it's around 9,000, based on how you do the math. Tesla in 2012, they launched their Model S in Q3 of 2012. They sold 250 cars. And at the end of the year, within the second half of 2012, they sold 2,400 or so cars. And again, Lucid Airs, they cost much more than the Model S. So if Lucid Motors can sell enough of those cars, they will have enough money to continue on their path. That's the point of this high-end vehicle, to get them out of the starting blocks. Sell enough of those to prove out their concept, to prove out their customer base, and make the brand, build the brand name, because branding is very important in this industry. People want to say, hey, I drive a Lucid, I drive a Tesla, I drive a BMW, a Jaguar. That's all important. So at the high end, right, people want to say I wear Louis Vuittons or Michael Kors or whatever. People identify with the things that they own. So Lucid Motors is going to say, hey, we're luxury too. We're actually luxury. So if you buy Lucid, you're luxury. And if that works, so they can sell 2,400 sedans, just like Tesla did in 2012 when they launched the Model S, I think that they will be fine for the first year. That's a little harder in the second year. They're projecting 20,000 sales of the Lucid Air. 20,000. So they can sell 20,000 of those Lucid Airs. They're going to make $2.219 billion in revenues from just a car. That's a lot of money. They're going to have $4.5 billion of cash on hand after this CCIV and Lucid Motors SPAC merger is complete. So if they can make half of that money in 1 year from selling cars, then they can continue to fund themselves for a while. Even though they're going to burn $2 billion or so every year for the next 3 or 4 years, they can offset enough of that expenditures and lower their free cash flow, their negative free cash flow, and keep them going for a while. And if they need more money from us, as long as they continue to show that they're making progress, that they're producing high quality cars and people are actually buying them, the market, the investors will say, hey, take my money. Go make more Lucid Airs and sell 5,000 of them or sell 4,500 of them. If you can do that, come back next year. Let's talk. You want more money? Here it is. Go make 100,000 and sell 100,000 cars. In 2024, 2025, 26, you're going to be free cash flow positive. You're going to be EBITDA positive. Then we made it. If they can get through the first 4 years, get to 2025, 2026, then we can survive. But we have to get there first. That's the hard part. If we build it, right? We're investors. We own this thing. So if we build these cars, will they come? I would love to hear from you in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, like the video below, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and let me know if you are investing in Lucid Motors, CCIV, and if you haven't seen my other videos, go watch those. And of course, if you want to help the channel grow, get more access to me, and get direct answers to your investment questions, then join us over at patreon.boacademy.org, where we discuss the stock market in real time in our Discord channel and discuss the stocks and SPACs that we're all invested in to help one another build our wealth together. That's where we share news, rumors, and new investment ideas so that we can all do our research and get in early on new deals before everyone else has a chance to. We got in early on CCIV, SPE, IPOE, so many more that many other people didn't have a chance to, and that has paid us dividends thanks to everyone's help. So I would love to have you in the community to continue to build that and help one another build long-lasting sustainable wealth. And of course, you will have a chance of winning $200 every month just to be a loyal and engaged patron. So if you're interested in all of that, I hope to see you over at patreon.boacademy.org. I'm Lincoln with boacademy.org. Thank you again and have a great day.